Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third annual session of the South Asia Hydromet Forum, organized by the Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning System and supported by the European Union and the World Bank. As you are aware, the first South Asia Hydromet Forum, or SAHF, organized in Geneva in September 2018 by World Bank in collaboration with Wmo, recognized the need to strengthen the regional approach to address common needs. The countries in South Asia, namely Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, committed for a regional collaboration through SAHF. The second South Asia Hydromet Forum was held in Kathmandu, Nepal in November 2019, where the heads of NMHSS of the eight South Asian countries and Myanmar agreed to move forward with the development and rollout of a regional approach for operational cooperation. It was agreed further that RIME should support World Bank in administering the delivery of priority activities for regional capacity building, dialogue, engagement, and knowledge sharing under World Bank's regional program in Hydromet, early warning and climate services, and the SAHF. The World Bank designed the SAHF South Asia Regional Development and Operational Forecasting and Service Delivery Program in December 2020 for addressing technical, institutional, and capacity gaps in South Asia region and tasked RIMEs to implement it. SAHF-III, building on SAHF-I and II, will bring forward initiatives on service delivery, regional collaboration, and innovations through adoption of climate and early warning information value chain approach, with a vision for South Asia and Myanmar to evolve and adopt collaborative strategies for increasing use of ensemble predictions, impact-based forecast systems, and user-oriented advisory services. SAHF-III has the following objectives: to agree on the design of SAHF activities, to deliberate and deepen on SAHF programs' role in strengthening weather, water, climate services in countries and at the regional level, and to share knowledge on innovation and valuation of socioeconomic benefits of the hydromet and climate services value chain as countries invest in hydromet modernization and absorb emerging technological advancement over the next decade. Ladies and gentlemen, weather and climate services are evolving to serve numerous sectors and support the nations to understand and respond to climate risks that are already increasingly being felt in the region. Investments for modernization of weather and climate services are crucial for sustainable development to build climate resilient economies in a context where the science is rapidly evolving and where the impacts further weaken the resilience of poor and vulnerable communities. This opening session will highlight SAHF's evolution and its potential contribution to climate resilient economies in South Asia. Speakers include policymakers, NMHSS representatives from the SAHF Executive Council, and development partners. For commencing this session, I request Session Chair, Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, and Chair of RIMES Council, to give his welcome remarks.
Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Nasir, Ministry of State for Environment, Climate Change and Technology, Republic of Maldives. Mr. Kamal Kishore, Member Secretary, NDMA, Government of India. Dr. Mohabatra, Director General of Meteorology, India Meteorological Department, and also Chair of SAHF. Ms. Cecil Fruman, Regional Director, World Bank. Mr. Penn Churchill, Head Regional Office of Asia and Southwest Pacific World Meteorological Organization. Mr. A.R. Subaya, Director, RIMES, and all distinguished participants. It is my great pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to the third conference of South Asia Hydromet Forum. This annual conference brought us together to discuss and find innovative solutions to the problems posed by the climate risks. As you all are aware that the recent Wmo publication, State of Climate in Asia 2020, highlighted the climate change indicators, especially the land surface temperature, sea surface temperature, and the atmosphere and ocean heat content in the Asian region show more than the long-term warming trends, larger than the global average. As you all know that the atmospheric temperature is warming very rapidly in the Arctic, whereas the ocean temperature rapidly warming in the Indian Ocean when compared to other places. In South Asia region, cyclonic storms during pre-monsoon and post-monsoon seasons, extreme rainfall during summer monsoon season and northeast monsoon season cause severe floods and other natural hazards. These extreme weather events continue to endanger fragile livelihood systems, aggravate poverty, derail socioeconomic development gains, hindering our efforts to achieve the sustainable development goals. We in South Asia region face significant institutional and technical challenges in delivering user-relevant climate services. Gap exists in entire climate early information system and also value chain, especially observation system, both in situ and remote sensing. High resolution weather and climate forecast analytics include models, impact-based forecast, tailored-made service delivery system for risk communication to reach in the last milestone of communities. Addressing these gaps in all nodes of the information value chains calls for transformative institutional process adopting a whole of society approach involving citizens, national meteorological and hydrometeorological services, all stakeholder institutions, policymakers, socioeconomic sectors, private sector, and the research communities. Lack of appreciation of the economic values of national meteorological and hydrometeorological services has led to reduced public investment in NMHS in many countries. The National Council of Applied Economic Research study in India reveals that even $1 invested in reaching out NMHS tailor-made services to farmers and fishermen yields an estimated benefits of up to $50. There is thus compelling rationale to invest in entire weather and climate information value chain, both upstream and downstream, while institutionalizing multi-stakeholder mechanism built around the centrality of the NMHS. I am happy to note that several SAHF countries are in the process of modernizing their hydrometeorological service with the help of World Bank and other development partners. In their efforts to modernize systems for provision of user-oriented hydrometeorological services, most countries face similar technical capacity, resource constraints, and other challenges. Regional cooperation is thus critical for countries to keep pace with the rapid advances in technology and data science and progress towards impact-based forecast service delivery. I have full confidence that SAHF program implemented by RIMES with the support from World Bank due to its participatory nature and ownership by SAHF countries would meet regional cooperation needs. RIME Council resolved in 2020 to integrate SAHF governance mechanism as a subset of RIMES Council and also provide support to countries in the region to address technical and institutional gaps to translate SAHF vision into an operational reality and sustain the outcomes. As chair of RIME Council, I will ensure all needed support for effective implementation of SAHF program in SAHF countries. Indian institutions under Ministry of Earth Sciences, especially the National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, the Indian Meteorological Department, and Indian National Center for Ocean and Information Services have been rendering services to the region to support both ocean state forecast and weather forecast in different time periods, short-term, medium, and seasonal and sub-seasonal time scales. These services have been extended to several countries in the region and can be accessed by others at request. Efforts have been made to improve the ocean observing system and early warnings for tropical cyclone for the North Indian Ocean through WMO RSMC functioning at IMD, New Delhi. I thank the World Bank for rendering support for SCAP processes since its inception in 2019. I also thank the Secretary General WMO, Dr. Talas, for institutionalizing WMO and RIMES cooperation by evolving a joint strategy and action plans in the context in the 2022 WMO RIMES Joint Ministers Conference. And through that, the process to replicate good practices to all RIMES sub-regions, West Asia, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, Pacific, and Africa. With these few words, I once again welcome all the participants and also thanking all the participants for the third SAP annual conference, and wish as all grand success to all in the deliberation over the next 4 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ravichandran, for your welcome remarks, emphasizing on the regional cooperation's role for supporting South Asia's forecasting and service delivery programs. I now invite Dr. Mrutyunjay Mohapatra to deliver his remarks. Dr. Mohapatra is the Director General of Meteorology, India Meteorological Department, and the permanent representative of India with WMO. He has been elected member of WMO's Executive Council for 2019 to 2023. Dr. Mohapatra is the current and first chair of the SAHF Executive Council.
Hello. Hello, is it audible?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today, Dr. Mohapatra, actually, he is very busy in some meeting of Ministry of Home Affairs. So kindly allow me on behalf of him, I am Dr. R.K. Giri. So I will propose the introductory remarks on behalf of him. Thanking you. Respected Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary MOES and Chair of RIMES Council, His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Nasir, Minister of State for Environment, Climate Change and Technology, Republic of Maldives, respected Mr. Kamal Kiswar, Member Secretary, National Disaster Management Authority, Government of India, Ms. Cecil Fruman, Regional Director, World Bank, Mr. Ben Churchill, Head Regional Office for Asia and the Southwest Pacific, WMO, and Mr. A.R. Subaya, Director RIMES, and all the distinguished participants, thanking you all and giving the opportunity to propose the introductory remarks for this session. So, as we all know that our climate is rapidly changing, we are witnessing it already. The recent decades, 2011 to 2020, was the hottest on record. Due to this warming, atmosphere remains about 7 to 8% additional moisture, thereby contributing to increased frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. Impacts of extreme events are resulting in significant losses to economics, societies, and severely impacting critical infrastructure. I strongly believe that Hydromet services provides a fundamental role for economic prosperity and resilient development. And I am happy to see that several of SAHF countries are in the process of modernizing NMHS in partnership with the World Bank and other development partners. Yet, all of us face substantial changes or challenges in delivering improved services, largely due to gaps in critical observing systems, access to high resolution weather and climate information, and technical capacities and financial resources affecting service delivery systems. In the regional context, SAHF countries are currently far from meeting the requirements of the internationally agreed Wmo, and in the implication, and their implications are severe. It is nearly impossible to provide high quality forecast in these countries. In addition, the lack of reliable observation from many of our countries impacts the quality of forecast across the entire globe. Satellite observations are important, but they cannot substitute for surface-based upper air-based observations, as they need to be validated using conventional data, as earlier pointed out by our Secretary MOS. The same thing. And these are the basically three modes of methodological chain: observational data exchange and global numerical weather prediction. And data exchange are the critical significance part of the NMHS. Failure any of these links severely affect the quality of weather and climate predictions, limiting the ability to deliver effective weather and climate information services, which adversely affect abilities to adapt to climate change and to ensure resilient development. The SAHF program, designed participately by SAHF countries, has formed 4 distinct but they're connected thematic working groups, which basically identify the needs and design activities to address different elements of the Hydromet services delivery seamless working. The working group process and legibility findings are fully owned by SAHF and could be used to development partners to guide investments. The 9 countries of the SAHF program all have different capacities, their strengths and needs. The SAHF design is unique in that respect, which facilitate a collective country-owned mechanism to design intervention that draw from the strength and contribute to capacity needs. As chair of SAHF Executive Council, India will be very pleased contribute and draw from SAHF collection, translating SAHF working groups recommendations into action-level programs. Impact-based forecasting, the 4th node of information value chain, is critical to connect users, stakeholders, institutions with NMHS in totality. As I call upon all partners of the SAHF to continue to work together with each other under SAHF umbrella to make our country's NMHS fully capacitated to meet the needs and the future requirements, and the increased threat from existing and emerging climate hazardous situations and cascading impacts of societies. It is required to build a strong and resilient South Asia, which will benefit not just the region and Asia, but also the entire globe. Thanking you.
Thank you, Dr. R.K. Giri, delivering the remarks on behalf of Dr. Mahapatra. For the next speakers, I kindly request you to turn on your video as you speak so that we can see you while delivering your talk. Our next speaker is Ms. Cecile Fruman, Director, Regional Integration and Engagement in South Asia Region, World Bank. Her talk on World Bank's priorities and support to enhance regional cooperation will be delivered now.
Thank you very much, and greetings to everyone. It is my absolute pleasure to see gathered here today at the 3rd Annual South Asia Hydromet Forum so many government officials, development practitioners, and technical experts from South Asia. Those of you who are passionate about tackling climate change and disaster risk. I hope that the dialogue at this forum can help chart a course to systematically reduce the socioeconomic losses from extreme weather events in the region. As we've heard from all the other speakers, this is one of the most vulnerable regions to climate shocks. And South Asia really needs more effective and reliable weather and climate services for climate resilient development and to protect lives and livelihoods. I'd like to share with you the story of Ms. Nirmala Sapkota. She's the beneficiary of the Building Resilience to Climate-Related Hazards project in Nepal, funded by the World Bank and the Pilot Program for Climate Resistance. Nirmala is a farmer from the Manikapur village of the Banka district of Nepal. Her district has seen low potato yields due to weather-related factors. However, Nirmala has had higher yields because she has chosen a different variety of potatoes, which is more resistant to climate change. The reason behind her choice is that Nirmala receives alerts on crop cultivation from the Kisan call center through the Agri-Info SMS Hamro Krishi mobile application. SMS alerts help farmers like Nirmala make right decisions at specific times of the year. For example, which crops to plant, or which pesticide or fungicide to treat a particular crop disease. This story illustrates the salience of Hydromet and Agromet services in helping the most vulnerable groups make informed decisions and improve livelihoods. And this is only one of many such success stories. Hydromet services make critical contributions in managing risk in weather-dependent economic sectors. International experience suggests that every $1 invested in stronger weather and climate services leads to an estimated benefit of $2 to $13. I repeat, $2 to $13. That's significant return on investment. The science and tools for forecasting are changing rapidly, even as the demand for services is becoming more specific in terms of location, sectors, and timescales. Hydromet institutions need to keep up with upskilling, adapting with the latest innovations, and recognizing the private sector as a strategic partner. Weather systems and climate risks are best monitored, understood, and predicted with a regional and sometimes a global perspective. Given limited resources in each national context, regional collaboration has the potential to reduce cost and optimize capabilities across the region. Through the sharing of data, information, and expertise, as well as through greater collaboration in jointly producing services, countries can meet the current and future needs of the people of South Asia, and each country can benefit. There are efforts around the world to improve regional collaboration that South Asia can be inspired by. The World Bank's Africa Hydromet program, launched in June 2015, has dedicated $312 million to overcome climate-related challenges, with 26 million people benefiting. You will also hear more in the following session about the experience of Southern Europe in bringing together expertise and services through regional initiatives. Investments in improved forecasting and early warning systems are front and center in the World Bank's Climate Change Action Plan. Between 2016 and 2020, the World Bank delivered over $83 billion in climate finance, which ensured that 120 million people in 50 countries gained access to hydrometeorological data and early warning systems. The bank has a significant portfolio of hydromet activities in South Asia, with investments in Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Through the South Asia Climate Roadmap, the World Bank is committed to expand its support to agencies with improved meteorological, hydrological, and flood forecasting systems in the next 5 years. Based on strong client demand, the bank is supporting the South Asia Hydromet Forum to support peer-to-peer learning, knowledge sharing, and enhanced capacity across the region. The forum will also continue to play an important role in inspiring collaboration across countries and with private sector, civil society, academia, user groups, and other stakeholders. As the national and regional champions of weather, water, and climate services in South Asia, what you do is critical to saving the lives and livelihoods of South Asians. When early warning can save the critical rice crops from flooding, move millions to safety in the face of extreme cyclone, or more mundanely allow farmers, water users, and truck drivers to go about their business knowing that they have a better view of the weather and climate risks they face, you know that the work you do every day is creating real impact and saving lives and livelihoods. So I congratulate you for the work you do, and I thank you for being here today to share your expertise, your ideas, and your goodwill to help the people of South Asia. I wish you all a very successful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Fruman, for the insightful message. I now invite Mr. Ben Churchill, Head of WMO's Regional Office for Asia and Southwest Pacific, to deliver WMO Strategic Plan 2020-2023 and support to the region on weather and climate service delivery on behalf of the Secretary General, WMO.
Thank you very much, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. Greetings from the World Meteorological Organization, or WMO, which is the specialized agency of the United Nations on weather, climate, and water. My name, as introduced, is Ben Churchill. I'm the head of the WMO Regional Office for Asia and the Southwest Pacific. Allow me to take this opportunity on behalf of WMO Secretary General, Professor Petri Talas, to thank you all for the opportunity and for me to make opening remarks at the opening of this third annual session of the South Asia Hydromet Forum. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance of international solidarity and unity in the face of the worst global health and economic crisis in our lifetime. It also underlines the importance of tackling climate change and setting up impact-based multi-hazard early warning systems based on the best possible science. Despite the impact of COVID-19, the WMO community of national meteorological and hydrological services, regional climate centres, and regional specialised meteorological centres have continued to work throughout the pandemic to protect lives and livelihoods from natural hazards and to address global environmental challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, first, I would like to take the opportunity to revisit and emphasise the Wmo Strategic Plan 2020 to 2023, after which I will outline how it is being implemented at the regional level. The Wmo Strategic Plan was adopted by the 18th World Meteorological Congress in June 2019 and sets the direction and priorities to guide the activities of the WMO during the 2020 to 2023 period and up to 2030 to enable all members to improve their information, products, and services. The plan anticipates increased demand for meteorological, hydrological, and climatological services and embraces a new comprehensive vision for the organisation, which is by 2030, we see a world where all nations, especially the most vulnerable, are more resilient to the socio and economic consequences of extreme weather, climate, water, and other environmental events, and underpin their sustainable development through the best possible services, whether over land, at sea, or in the air. It also sets three overarching priorities: enhancing preparedness for hydrometeorological extremes, supporting climate-smart decisions, and enhancing socio-economic benefits of related services, with a view to contributing to the societal needs reflected in the global agenda to realise sustainable development. The plan recognises the demand for actionable, accessible, and authoritative science-based information to address the increased threats of extreme weather and the urgency of climate action for resilience, mitigation, and adaptation, as well as the need to reduce the growing capacity gap in infrastructure and services by making use of rapid advancements in science and technology and innovative partnerships. To address these ambitious aspirations, the strategic plan pursues 5 long-term goals and associated objectives, and I'll go through them rather quickly. First, to better serve societal needs, delivering authoritative, accessible, user-oriented, and fit-for-purpose information and services. 2, enhance Earth system observations and predictions by strengthening the technical foundation for the future. 3, advance targeted research, leveraging leadership in science to improve understanding of the Earth system for enhanced services. 4, to close the capacity gap on weather, climate, hydrological, and related environmental services, enhancing service delivery capacity of developing countries to ensure availability of essential information and services needed by governments, economic sectors, and citizens. And 5th, strategic realignment of WMO structure and programs for effective policy and decision-making and implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, to implement the WMO Strategic Plan and meet the challenges to build back better in Asia, including, of course, South Asia, WMO is scaling up sub-regional and regional cooperation through the strengthening of its regional associations and aligning with the WMO structures and priorities under services, infrastructure, research, and capacity development to better support our regional members in these efforts. First, with the strong support from our regional partners, we have released the first ever regional report on the state of the climate in Asia 2020 at a high-level online regional event on the 26th of October. The report showed conclusively that regionally 2020 was one of the 3 warmest years on record. The past 6 years, including 2020, were the 6 warmest years on record. Concentrations of the major greenhouse gases continue to increase and reached new record highs despite the temporary reduction in emissions in 2020 related to measures taken in response to COVID-19. Sea level rise is accelerating, glaciers are disappearing, further impacting water security. Extreme weather events continue to threaten sustainable development across the whole Asia region. The frequency and severity of droughts and floods, heat waves, tropical cyclones, and other natural hazards are increasing. Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, countries faced the dual challenge of tackling the pandemic as well as climate-related hazards. Furthermore, the State of the Climate for Southwest Pacific 2020 was launched at COP26 just days ago. WMO will enhance this effort to provide stronger support and clear science-based information to policy and decision makers in the region. Second, we are building up the Alliance for Hydromet Development, and at COP26, we launched the Systematic Observations Financing Facility, or SAHF, which will support the capacity development of generation and exchange of basic surface weather and climate observations for improved weather forecasts, climate information, and early warnings globally, regionally, nationally, and locally. Third and finally, WMO will ensure the enhancement of impact-based multi-hazard early warning system and services of all our members, and keep promoting initiatives such as the Climate Risk and Early Warning Systems, or CREWS, to support the development of improved services in least developed countries and small island developing states to further minimise loss of life and economic impacts from extreme climate, weather, water, and related environmental events. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, through SAHF and other mechanisms and initiatives, WMO looks forward to continued cooperation with RIMES and its member states and the World Bank in advancing progress on the SDGs and the implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction. In the context of WMO's long-standing relationship with RIMES, I am very pleased to note significant progress on drafting a joint strategy and action plan that will see greater focus on members and highlight the importance of a comprehensive and integrated end-to-end value chain, from collecting and sharing data to numerical weather prediction that produces timely and accurate forecasts and warnings, all the way to delivering key messages to communities in a way that they understand the impact and can take the necessary action, the so-called last mile. Cooperation and collaboration are key to addressing the escalating risks and impacts of climate change. WMO looks forward to continued cooperation with its members, partners, development partners, including, of course, the World Bank, and stakeholders, and to enhanced engagement and discussion at interactive and engaging platforms such as this. Together with RIMES and our other key partners at the global, regional, and sub-regional level, we hope to achieve the Wmo Vision that I mentioned earlier, which is to see a world where all nations, especially the most vulnerable, are more resilient to the socio-economic consequences of extreme weather, climate, water, and other environmental events. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words, I look forward to the fruitful discussions at this forum over the coming days, and I wish you all good health and safety. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Churchill, for elaborating on WMO Strategic Plan 2020-2023 and continued support of WMO to end-to-end climate information value chain. This time, the potential contribution of SAHF to furthering DRR in South Asia region will be highlighted. Mr. Kamal Kishore, Member Secretary, National Disaster Management Authority, Government of India, will deliver this.
Thank you very much. First of all, I am very grateful to RHIMES and the other organizers for inviting me and for inviting the National Disaster Management Authority of India to this event. It's a very important event, and I am very happy to be part of this conversation and share a few thoughts with you. I am, in a sense, one of your main clients. One of the main clients of the National Met Service, one of the main beneficiaries, users of the work that you do, the subject of this conclave. Today, by way of my reflections from the perspective of National Disaster Management Offices, I want to share 5 key points as to why this forum is important and what our hopes and expectations are from you. The first thing I want to say is that for those of us who work in the area of disaster risk management, the entire spectrum of things, disaster risk reduction, disaster response, immediate response, disaster recovery, and so on, the world seems to be changing very fast. In terms of the hazard patterns as they manifest themselves at the local level. Let me just highlight that with 2 examples from my own lived experience. The present year, the Indian monsoon is a little bit below normal. Yet, we've had some of the worst flooding in areas that have not known flooding in the past. The second example, I've worked on disaster risk management for more than 2 decades. And I have never, my collective memory of the cyclones on the West Coast from 1990 to 2015 is less than the number of cyclones we've seen on the West Coast. Now, of course, the people who work on climate science, meteorologists would say that it is difficult to attribute a single event to a changing climate, but certainly there are patterns which are changing. I don't know to what extent we can attribute them and predict them, but I think it's very clear that we cannot plan our disaster risk management systems on the basis of what we have known traditionally. Historically, past is no longer a good guide for the future. This is a much repeated phrase. So I think that's where a collaboration with a regional initiative to where very important. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Yeah. And my second point is that there are some aspects of dealing with the consequences of hazards emanating from hydrometeorological phenomena, where we are not making enough progress, whether it is in terms of reducing mortality or reducing economic losses. 2 examples that come to my mind immediately are, number 1, reducing the impact of lightning strikes. Lightning strikes are amongst the biggest killers in the Indian subcontinent for sure. And then the issue of urban floods. And both of these, I think our early warning systems, our response mechanisms, our public awareness mechanisms have really been struggling, and we've made limited progress. And this cannot be done unless we have a collaborative approach regionally, but also collaborative approach with the meteorological services. As users, we want, the longest lead time possible and the highest geographical resolution. But, that may not always be possible from the science and technology perspective. So that's where I think a dialogue would help us maximize what is possible in scientific and technical terms and what users like me and my organization require. So how do we address these intractable problems of disasters where we have shown limited progress in the last a couple of decades? How do we get better city-based forecasts, tie them into stream flow forecasts, look at urban drainage, look at it the whole end to end. So I think that's the second thing. The third thing is, several speakers prior to me talked about the impact-based forecasting. I think the notion of impact-based forecasting has really come of age. However, we need to go a long way. I think the way we describe the impacts, we anticipate and describe the impacts, there is a lot more that needs to be done sector by sector. I think it is really important that there is dialogue between Met services, disaster risk managers, and other sectors where most of the risk actually resides, water resources sector, agriculture sector, and so on. It is a little bit like there are two concentric circles, two sort of overlapping circles. One circle is what forecasters can do, and one is what the users desire. The overlap is limited, but even that overlap is not being maximized. So if we have much greater dialogue, we can improve our impact-based forecasting. We can make our impact-based forecasting more vivid, more descriptive, more relatable, more actionable, more usable, and more understandable. And there is no shortcut to that but to have a dialogue. So it would be good to see how other countries are dealing with these issues of, what is the progress on the frontiers of impact-based forecasting and what we can learn from each other. So that's my third point. My fourth point is that in the last 10 years or so, there is a technology boom on different aspects of early warning systems, whether it is sensing technology or aerial photography or communication technology and all of that. But a lot of these technologies come up, and then a few years later, you see that they vanish without a trace. They never scaled, they never really worked out. They showed some initial promise, but they didn't really work out in terms of taking them to scale and actually making them work for a large number of people. So I think if we did a regional collaboration in South Asia and looked at, collectively looked at where the promising technologies are, which are the ones where we can work collectively, we can bring in some collective solutions. So scaling them, there is this notion of advanced market commitment, so that, if you see promise in some technology, you commit to implementing it in a large enough area so that the technology provider finds, economies of scale in this. So all of that. So I think if we have to carefully evaluate technologies that are coming up, which can fit into our end-to-end early warning systems, it requires collective effort to do that, collective thinking. And I think this platform can provide that. And my final point is relating to climate change. We've just finished the COP26. There is a lot of discussion on loss and damage, what is really happening. There are projected trends, but there are observed trends. I think if we work together, we will have a much better sense of what is being observed. We can really collectively keep our proverbial ear to the ground and see what is really happening in our region. What is it that is happening in terms of the changes that are being felt in the hazard patterns, but also how the socioeconomic system, the biophysical system is responding to that. I think without that sort of feedback from the ground as to what is it really that is the lived experience of communities, we will have limits to what we understand in terms of how climate change impacts are panning out. So if we work collectively, we can have a more comprehensive picture of what is unfolding, what is likely to unfold, and how we will deal with it collectively. So thank you very much once again, and I really look forward to engaging with this dialogue on this RIMES platform and with the other RIMES partner present today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kishore, for highlighting the potential contribution of regional cooperation and working collectively to DRR as we face more challenging times. Our next speaker oversees key government policies and functions relating to the environment, providing political and technical guidance and direction for the management of environmental affairs, particularly those relating to marine and coral reef biodiversity and protected area management in the Maldives. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Abdullah Nazir, Minister of State for the Environment, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Technology, Republic of Maldives, will now deliver the keynote address.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Honorable Chair of the session, Dr. Ravi Chandran, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and Chair of the RIMES Council, Chair of the South Asia Hydromet Forum Executive Council, Dr. Mohapatra, also Director General of Meteorology, India Meteorological Department, Vice Chair of the South Asia Hydromet Forum, Dr. Duke, Director of the National Center for Hydrology and Meteorology of Bhutan. Distinguished speakers, eminent experts and scientists, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to address this third annual meeting of the South Asia Hydromet Forum, being organized by RIMES in collaboration with the World Bank. I have had an opportunity to read the WMO State of the Climate Report in Asia launched last month. This report convincingly, with robust evidence, established the linkages and relationships of climate change, risks with sustainable development goals, with vivid illustrations on how carbon dioxide concentrations linked greenhouse effect drives climate change indicators such as global warming, sea level rise, reinforces abnormal climate drivers that lead to extreme and high impact events and its implications on sustainable development in parts of Asia. This Asia-specific report calls for urgent action in Asia, and particularly the South Asia region, which is one of the most hazard-prone regions in the world. The disruptive impacts of climate change and socio-economy in South Asia region compels us to us participating in the forum to evolve and implement innovative programs urgently to tackle these on priority. Although climate change is a global phenomenon, its impacts are felt disparately, I would say, at regional and local levels. And it is at these levels that actions to adapt to it and mitigate its effects are urgently warranted. As the WMO report on the state of climate in Asia states, annual precipitation totals in the South Asia summer monsoon regions were above normal in 2020, I'm told. Pakistan and Sri Lanka reported much above normal country average rainfall during the summer monsoon season. During the summer monsoon season in 2020, countries in South Asia suffered from heavy rainfall and the resulting floods and landslides. Pakistan experienced the wettest August on record since 1961. Nepal experienced severe flooding events during July, September, and October. Several rivers in Myanmar rose significantly, causing floods in areas along the river banks and displacing thousands of people from areas while heavy rains also resulted in a massive landslide in a jade mine, resulting in 160 casualties. In May, Cyclone Amphan hit the Sundarbans region between India and Bangladesh, displacing 2.4 million people in India, mostly in West Bengal, Odisha, and 2.5 million people in Bangladesh. Intense cyclones, monsoon rains, and floods hit highly exposed and densely populated areas in South Asia and East Asia. And it has led to the displacement of millions of people in our region. We in the Maldives, being an island nation, have been already experiencing significant negative impacts of climate change for quite a while. The rising seas threaten our entire country, which is popularly communicated globally, while the warmer oceans and the enhanced adverse weather activities pose a grave risk to not only to our lives and livelihoods, the coral reefs on which we live ourselves are also impacted, resulting in problems relating to all aspects of our life here on these islands. Earlier this year, we were also impacted by the tropical cyclone Tauke, and just a couple of years ago, by the monsoonal floods that affected 4 of our atolls, that is Hardal Atoll in the north and Gafalif, Tar and Lam atolls in the south. Maldives contributes valuable oceanic climate and meteorological data in a very data-sparse area of South Asia, spanning a large and important region in the Indian Ocean. This data enhances performance of global and regional weather models, which we hope will lead to tailored decision support tools that can enhance our adaptation efforts. It is in this context I greatly appreciate the value of the South Asia Hydromet program. The forum is designed, I believe, to evolve and implement programs that are regionally coordinated to build technical and institutional capacity of the national meteorological and hydrological services of the South Asia and on operational forecasting and service delivery. This is envisaged through cost-effective and sustainable regional approach and stakeholder need demand-based assessments, evaluation and consultations. With support from the World Bank, as we have heard from previous speakers as well, through the South Asian Hydromet Forum, RHYMES strengthens and facilitates the existing operational cooperation amongst national meteorological and hydrological services in the region, bringing in necessary support from global and regional centers of excellence. This will enhance the weather and climate hydrological services in the South Asia region and build upon rapid technological advances in forecasting and services that can be harnessed to meet the growing demands from stakeholders. The forum will also ensure the capacity enhancement process enabling national services to not only address the current demand, but also emerging demand over at least the next decade. The capacity building initiatives are designed to support the creation of conditions that all developing countries have the opportunity to provide a level of service that protects the lives, livelihoods, and economic opportunities of citizens, at least, as well as the most advanced societies. It is also designed to ensure that national meteorological and hydrological services are in a position to embrace modern approaches to numerical prediction and ensemble predictions, and to provide valuable information about the likelihood of an event, and coupled with information on the potential impacts, provide users with warnings of security risks. A key aspect of the South Asia Hydromet Forum is to establish an institutional mechanism to mainstream all the capacity building needs of national services through the forum, and addressing it systematically through tailor-made training programs that enable national centers to deliver reliable forecast products and services, platforms for improved application of climate information in key sectors. This will institutionalize generation of and application of impact-based forecasts in combination with vulnerability information at subnational levels. This approach will ensure synergy via long-term climate change information, which will drive the World Bank supported climate adaptation and resilient for South Asia, the CARE, regional data analytics platform to support decision-making and planning in a seamless manner in sectoral agencies pertaining to climate resilience. I understand that the Hydromet Forum and CARE programs are both initiatives of the World Bank and RIMES. Together, and the entire climate information value chain seamlessly a whole of society and a whole of government approach. I'm very pleased to note that the South Asia Hydromet Forum 3 agenda and celebrations and deliberations are planned along the climate information value chain pathways, commencing from communities, societal application, which is the most viable, tangible level through the so-called bottom-up approach to bring the best of science for addressing societal needs. I wish these 3 days of deliberations success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Dr. Abdullah Nasir. Very inspiring message, sir. I now invite Mr. A.R. Subaya, RIMES Director, to deliver the closing remarks.
Thank you. His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Nasir, Minister of State, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Technology, Government of Republic of Maldives, Dr. M. Ramachandran, Secretary to the Government of India, Ministry of Earth Sciences and RIMES Council Chair, Mr. Kamal Kishore, Member Secretary, National Disaster Management Authority, Government of India, Ms. Cecil Truman, Director, World Bank, and distinguished colleagues. This is it is my privilege to be part of this SAHF program since its inception in 2018. It is my privilege to share the vision of SHF in this session, just to reflect the shared vision of SHF, all the 9 countries of SHF members shared through SHF working groups and Executive Council deliberations in the last 6 months. So these deliberations show that how the future trajectories of SAHF will go. In this process, we have assessed that there is going to be a huge demand, as Mr. Kamal Kishore reflected in his speech, that the user demands and the other stakeholder demands will drive for more usable information from the meteorological communities. In addition to the demands, there is also a path-breaking technological changes coming in the years to come, in the years of before 2030. This decade will witness huge changes in forecast technology itself, because there could be a global forecast centers to be able to produce very high resolution, 1 kilometer resolution forecast, and also the IT technologies also will drive the whole changes. In the changing landscape of this technological and demand, there could be a kind of implications in the change of shift in roles, functions, and performance of NHMS to engage with more with the user institutions through a participatory process. So in this changing scenario, engagement of countries, all the countries with the differing capacities, requires a huge integration of information system in the whole thing. Integration is a very important process in the sense that integration of global, regional, national data stream into user relevant information system. Second major changes will be that users will need information from different time scales. So there need to be a seamless integration of information from a decadal to yearly, and also seasonal, subseasonal, and weather scale process. And this kind of things have a huge integration issue, both at the global levels, regional levels, national levels, and also subnational levels. Yet when we have the integration process, there need to be a forum like this, South Asia Hydromet Forum, to provide that integration at all levels. In this process of integration, the RIMES and the World Bank designed this SAHF-III agenda on a climate information value chain approach, in the sense that there will be a user will determine what information they need. In order to deliver that information or meeting the user needs, there will be a kind of demand for making tailor-made services from the sectoral and other institutions. When the sectoral institutions will like to have a tailor-made services to the users, then there will be demand from the sectoral agencies to have a impact-based forecasting for the meteorological services in collaboration with the sectoral agencies. Impact-based forecasting will drive the kind of forecast it will come from the NWP and other climate models. And the climate models will drive the kind of data system, observation systems, and the kind of forecast technology it will be there. This is how it is going to take place from a user-driven, demand-driven kind of a process. In this, the whole process will have to have a far-reaching implications for NHMS and the user departments in the years to come. Already there is some kind of emerging responses coming from the system that countries, RIMES countries, 23 countries are agreeing to share data, real-time data on a daily basis, and also observe data for RIME to be able to quality check and transfer the data to the ECMWF through an agreement between ECMWF and RIMES. ECMWF in turn provides a high resolution forecast, and this high resolution forecast is integrated into the NHMS operations. And NHMS forecast, the local forecasts are validated with observed data, and the validation report goes to the ECMWF to see that they can refine the forecast system on that. This is going to be also, should be increasingly shared with regional centers like India Meteorology Department and also the other global producing centers. So this already a process is in the offing, but it requires a huge effort to strengthen this process. All the SAHF countries are participating in this process, and the SHF forum will provide further impetus in this. This will lead to a transition from a data sharing, closed data sharing to open data sharing system, because unless we share data openly, and it will be very difficult for global models also generate the usable information for the NHMS and other users. So there is need for a kind of a transition will be there by building trust of using the forecast and also taking the information forward. At the state, at the country level, there will be a kind of a process of changes will come for increasingly engaging NHMS with the user departments. Already in India Meteorology Department, they established RIMES and IMD unit to provide impact-based forecasting. In Bangladesh National Climate Application Center has been established to connect all the user departments, and also Sri Lanka and other countries in Bhutan also. So this is a kind of emerging relationships are coming in, and this will have a huge impact for our SAHF program in the years to come. SAHF is a very important forum because it allows participation of all the countries by giving some capacity, some kind of experiences, and also taking from some experience from other countries. Highly participatory SAHF program. This design by the World Bank is so good. So all the countries are participating, and we are now seeing 46 members of both the Executive Council and the working group members are deliberating to give a further future direction in this regard. Thank you so much for the time, and we hope that in the next 3 days deliberations will bring a new impetus for the SAHF program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Subaya, for the closing remarks. Before we end, I kindly request everyone to open your video for the SAHF-III group photo.
Dr. M. Ravichandran, you are.
Yeah, I have not been allowed to share my video.
Oh.
Maybe the host.
Oh.
Yeah, same is the case.
Okay.
Same is the case with me.
Okay, just give me a moment.
Dr. Mahapatra here.
Okay, there may be some technical issue, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so since
Dr.
there are some
Mahapatra, you can check
technical, okay.
Yeah, now I am here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahapatra, for coming back and joining.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate that.
Since there is some technical issues, I think some others are experiencing technical issues. So our team can advise if a group photo has been taken, and then we can end the session. So Anshul, Mitesh, are we okay?
Host still has stopped us to share
Tomorrow
the video.
also it will be like this, that we won't be able to switch on our camera.
I think our technical team will be addressing this.
Yeah, Aaron now, Sarfaraj, and we take the screenshot.
Happening here as well. Okay. So, Itesh?
Yes, these are our way take.
Okay.
Yes, Krishna, we take the screenshot. All right, thank you.
So we are done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for participating in the opening session of SAHF-III. We look forward to having you in the subsequent SAHF-III sessions from 16th to 18th November. Session 1 starts tomorrow, 16 November at 4 a.m. UTC. Please join the session using the same Zoom meeting link. See you all there. For now, thank you very much. And depending on wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, all
Bye.
of you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.